Okay, my friends, let's continue with part 6 of 20 MKultra in Poland. Specifically, I am concentrating on which you're gonna see in maybe even in this part already how far the whole thing went in respect to political asylum option for which I have filed in 2017. Yes, my friends, there was a time when I actually wanted to live in Belarus. I, idiots, have even volunteered myself to Belarus military, more than willing to assist country. I have bitten a lie about the NATO by even volunteering myself into the Belarus armed forces. And instead, what Belarus government did, this isn't against Belarus people, Russian people. This is against the criminals inside of the Kremlin. Specifically, I'm talking about Vladimir Putin. They brought me back to Poland during 2017 instead, and have used years for over a decade long MKultra procedure that was used, whatever was used basically to help me out somehow, whatever Americans tried to use to assist me, so I would in the future, when I would return, if I would return here, I would be capable to identify things, basically survive ordeal much worse, much more severe than the most severe cancer that exists out there. I lost 23 years proving that I'm not insane inside of the psychiatric wards, unemployed forcefully, and a lot of other stuff that you can read from my news site. What was done to me? Russians didn't stop. That last human option that is used basically to save your life, political asylum option, they have used instead to turn against me the whole thing with idea so that I would go and uh, you know give a testimony that would be full of mistakes, and that way it would be like not credible. It's regrettable to note that the French officials that are running inside of the political asylum option in Belarus, you see, the Belarus government does not run I'm gonna say, not the immigration. They don't have this kind of real immigration option like we have in other countries, where you have the state immigration. You know, they use United Nations basically to decide about your fate in Belarus. The problem here is that United Nations in Belarus is so corrupt. It's so fake that actually protects the crime. Everything that Russian and Belarus government does against possible applicants for such option, it's protected, it's covered by the United Nations umbrella. This is just unbelievable. The first official, corrupt official who got involved in this case, it was United Nations official, very high official in charge for Belarus, was Alexander Martinelli. Alexander Martinelli got involved in this case already sometimes in 2000, in 99, something like this. So you're talking about people that it started like the whole thing with permission of United Nations already so damn early. And this individual was inside of the Belarus, and this individual he would participate in these meetings, he would know the whole thing. He was in Minsk, where I was brought, and so on, and through him, other people that are right here in these centers in this very center here in Grotniki, in Poland. They, how can I say, they met me. Uh, it is a video I'm gonna have to dedicate separately to this issue. And when it came to 2017, when I recognized, but I couldn't say, another French official who came. Yeah, you just have to go over the videos about the Belarus, about United Nations. The only thing I have to say is that I did not disclose the whole thing, because the whole thing, if I would go ahead and I would disclose the whole thing back then already, it would be like beyond unbelievable. And on top of that, I didn't have proof, which I have today. Today, for the claim about Alexander Martinelli, I actually have a proof. And this involvement with this French human rights commissioners, United Nations commissioners, on behalf of the Kremlin, on behalf of the Russia, didn't stop at all. It went on in 2017. We cannot say only that the Belarus government was the one, the Polish and Belarus government, the Russian government have done something like this gruesome. They brought me through the border to Poland to confuse on timing. But it's also United Nations alone that is implicated, deeply implicated in this thing. And now that's going to make you really think what's going on here, how far the hell the whole thing went. In a case for which I actually have proofs. This is horrific. I'm going to have to dedicate a special video to this issue, but for now, let's continue. I have already exposed quite a few facts about this political asylum procedure in Belarus, which was completely misused. I am speechless. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm speechless that you would go and ask somebody to protect your life and that somebody would just go and do the stuff like this. Let's continue with this. It's very bad. This is a brutal truth. Let's do this again. Where am I right now? Where am I heading? From that construction site I headed to the center of the city. And I did go through the clothing stores and so on, yeah. And I am now, there is a Chinese shop. The Chinese shop which was there, a little background on MKultra. I was unfriendly to a lot of people. Because, if you're subjected to MKultra, you have the right to be so. I still deem that you do, as a victim of MKultra, you have the right to be unpleasant, you have the right to reject, you have the right to insult, you have the right to do absolutely everything, anything you can afford yourself by meaning that you will somehow be capable to survive. Because this is the kind of issues they used against me to literally get rid of me. They got all sides. They have depicted my case to all the sides, in such a way that all the sides basically will reject you. But I believe that the United Nations should implement the law that, in the first place, MKultra is illegal, the most criminal procedure there is. This is worse than a cancer, basically. This is without any debate. On a second thing is that when it comes to MKultra, the victim should be protected at any kind of cost. Whatever he says, whatever he does under MKultra, this is actually his duty to do whatever he does under MKultra. MKultra is, I'm gonna say, totally illegal procedure. There is no reason for it. This particular store is a Chinese store. Under MKultra, I have insulted the Chinese owner, which also comes. And so these people promised me that they're gonna F me, don't even come here in the future and stuff like that. Look, in Budapest, I have insulted Donald Trump. It was not only Chinese and and Poles and Russians, and I have insulted all people of all spectrums. In Budapest, Donald Trump was brought emotionally to truly psychotic state of mind when I started to do to him the stuff that he wouldn't expect. He was like treating me like on a train, like like I'm a dirt, basically, like a dummy, like this. And the only thing I did was I continued to laugh at him, and he realized that I completely disregard him, ignore him. He started to ask me, "What do you think? You think this isn't gonna happen?" I told him in the face, laughing, "No, it's not gonna happen because there's nothing you can do about it." Basically saying to him, the only thing you can do so far is you can do the stuff like this. You can bring me here from the US for the stuff like this. But more than this, you're never going to get me. You're never going to push my sanity over the edge to the point that I'm actually going to go to the internet and start to transmit what you have done to me, or even bother myself with investigation. The guy is a psycho. I can tell you that he lost his mind. He started to gesture, asking me if I don't think that he can actually get me killed like this, that he cannot actually kill me and stuff like this. This kind of stuff is psychotic stuff. This kind of stuff, individual that have a complete control over you, is psychologically, if I evaluate that kind of stuff, it means that a person is like having severe problems with the ego, that he is like, I can do it, uh, because I can just do it like this, and basically how you dare to see me in such a situation. Donald Trump he's got a very serious problems, ego problems. So I do not, I'm saying that the law have to be implemented, not only that MKultra is the most criminal, worse disease than a cancer, but victims that are subjected to such torture, to such practice, United Nations should elect the law that such victims have the right to abuse, to do anything they can possibly do against the people that subject them to such torture. That I would make the law, that you have the right to do with a person that is subjecting you to the torture anything you can possibly do to insult, so you can possibly undermine whatever it is that you can do. Nobody has the right to enter your mind privacy in such a violent way. This is number one thing. And nobody have the right to deprive you of life, wasting your time on abuse, on a total abuse. Nobody has the right to do that. United Nations should do that, parallel to the cleanup of the officials they have in this really corrupt establishment. A lady that you're gonna hear is a long-time employee. This is one of the first people that worked in this store. I see this is yet another proof I can give you. The next thing you're gonna hear, it's gonna be the owner. The owner already instructed these people, don't give any information to this dude. As simple as this. He will not get absolutely any help. But there is another one employee. The first one is not going to even tell him the truth. The Chinese owner is not going to say anything. She would just ignore me. And then actually the third one is going to tell me it is true, my claim. So this is an easy procedure. If you think, I'm just going to say, if you're not 100% sure what you're doing, you can be removed from such stuff like this. Because guess what? All this stuff is recorded by the government. They watch this stuff. And when you make mistakes, like intrusions, like you're doing something pointless and stuff like this, you're just gonna be gone. It takes a lot to do the stuff like this. I asked the lady, this store right here, this was already in 2015, and I'm pretty sure also already was in 2013. This is the store that came to life in 2013, something like this. And I know about one because we would go to the store which is above there. That's again another used clothing shop. This is the big store that also is in Sgirsh, and this is what Americans and Israelis, they were crazy about used clothing. They would just go and get, and they had a lot of this used clothing. They would bring this here to Poland, and it wouldn't be really, they would sometimes they would just give this away, you know, like this to the stores a little bit and stuff like this to gain friends. They would give used clothing away and get clothing, used clothing from, and so on, and try and back and forth. People like this. Nothing wrong with it. Nice people, actually, really nice people. She's like, oh, no. She says, over there, up. And I already know about the up because I'm going up. And she knows where I'm going. She knows what's going to happen. Up. Don't go to me, baby. Don't go to me. Up. We are right here in the store right now, and I'm not going anywhere until I find out right here for whatever I am. Telling me up basically is screwing me, because is suggesting me, is not answering the information with which she was faced with, but is already trying to screw me up on the next step because she knows the MKultra procedure. She knows where I'm going next. But I undermine her as well, because when I go up, I go much further down the time, and I make much more daring statement than I did for this store. So that up doesn't help her at all. One way or the other, I know what I'm doing. I want information here for this store. It's plenty of stuff like this. It's a lot of people that think basically that according to what happened on MKultra, they just can do the stuff like this. It is okay to do the stuff like this. So I go a little bit back and forth. And I'm looking for an employee. The Chinese owner comes, not interested in helping me out. Not that I would have a problem with Chinese people at all. Chinese people are one of the nicest people you can find around. Very professional people to deal with that I enjoy dealing with. But it's just that, you know, you have all kinds of people that think like this. There you go. The owner doesn't want to say. I don't know, she ran away. There you go. I don't go out of the store. The third employee actually tells me, yeah, not likely, but she finally gives me the answer. Yes, it was in 2015 and 2013. Okay, now we're gonna go up there. There is no hurry for that matter. Let's go. This is a very big problem, folks. You have no idea what it means to do the stuff like this. I rather go work out, heavy workout, I rather to do than do this. Okay, this is a good store to buy the stuff. In this Chinese store I bought a lot of stuff. It's a quality stuff, it's a good stuff. And I realize something else. I remind myself that this very same store they also had in Zgirsh. There were two locations they had. This one and also in Zgirsh. Now the thing is about something else. Okay, alright, let it be. Alright, I'm gonna reveal the whole thing. In Zgirsh, this same kind of store, it was a different situation. The owner is in Łódź, but the thing about it that in Zgirsh when they opened this store, see, so this is why I remember even more so. This is a whole bunch of information that I carry with me from MKultra times. In this store, it's like this. Now the things are gonna change anyways, but it's okay because I already get through and I don't know, help myself, I don't know what with it. The thing is that in Zgirsh store it was a little bit different situation. In Zgirsh store, the ladies that work helped me out by they had the same items as in this store, but the items were really were cheaper. They really did costed less money. There was a better price for it, and so believe me, I know what I'm talking about. There were people that wanted to help out, and there were people that just they would not want to help out in any way. So see, when I say there is this same store in Zgirsh and so on, believe me, I carry information about the stuff that I say. I got lots of information that I have with me, and it's the same for the next store and so on. She says yes, it's the same store. I didn't get wealthy with this store here. The only thing I did, don't worry about, I bought one charger and that was it. And even that charger was already changed, was already repaired in this place here anyways, so there's nothing to worry about if somebody worries about. Now I go up there, that's a used clothing store, old store is this. Now I'm gonna go all the way to 2008. Just was doing some video recordings as well. Okay, Dzień dobry, hello, good day to you. I'm already now up, like the lady indicated, up. And I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna demonstrate you everything, where these stores were, how they look like. I tell her we were here in 2008, 15, 13 and so on. I say to her, your store, however, your store is a very old store. I tell her, your store already was here in 2008 and maybe even in 2006. So don't worry about over there, up there. In that store, in Chinese store, I managed to go all the way to 2013. That's big. In this one here, I go all the way to 2008, and I push even to 2006. My American friends, you said, if I'm gonna dare, if I'm gonna have the guts to push. Now let's see it, what happens. There you go. You see this? 2006. Let's hear this again. And I also tell her, you also have the store in this girl store. The same store, it was in the same store. And I'm going to give her a little background. How I remember all this stuff. There you go. 2006, the same store, and you also have one in Zgirsh. This, I'm going to explain to you like this. This store, this was two stores. This is like two stores. This is the main store that Americans were crazy about in Zgirsh and in Watch, both stores. This is what we would go all the time. We would go, and especially it was about this clothing all the time, fashion and so on. It's like this. Americans were nice enough, along with their store owners, to do something nice, which regardless of it, I would still go forward with my claims. It doesn't matter to me. But this is just a really nice gesture. They left some clothing here, and I have to tell the whole truth. In the store in Zgirsh, and when I walked inside of that store in Zgirsh with his used clothing, and I saw the clothing, because Americans helped me out under MKultra, they show their clothing and stuff like this. It was about the clothing, so much it was about the clothing. These young people, it was so much, to them was the clothing was so important. And it was American type of clothing that it was on sale. First time when I went inside of that store, it was the whole section of it. I saw it, I saw these things, and sure enough, I'm not gonna say that gave me, the idea about the whole thing. It did not. I knew about the whole thing, but it did encourage me. So I want to say thank you to that matter too. So I got green light for the Chinese store down below, and I got the green light for also for the store above. I go all the way to 2006, and I want to go a little further, just like I did go to those side streets, like dead-end streets. And sure enough, there was a store. It's right outside of this store. It's right outside of the store. It's like a little shop, store that, for which I was told on MKultra, do not talk about. It's like a ghost store. It was just few things they would have inside, and according to these people, they would play like, I was told on MKultra, don't ask about that store. Do not ask about that store. That store is like, it's like a ghost store. You don't want to go and you don't want to ask about that store. In that store, they would have like drinks, like really expensive drinks, and magazines. And I was discouraged. Do not ask about that store. That store, it's like I wouldn't ask, and this and that, and tra la 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 la. And there is something else about it. In 2006, 2007, one of the first there was a building that was historical building over there, not too far from Caritas. And in this Caritas, where we would go to this Caritas, oftentimes, this is like in the center of the lodge over there. It's not too far from this Galleria Loczka. And so they started the renovation of these buildings, and they started to decide along with Americans. Americans give Poles here, they give them a whole idea about what's going to basically stay and what's not going to stay according to what their perception, according to the way Americans rate, if you want, assess. They made their assessments about the city, about how the city should look like, so the city would somehow blend with normal cities from the West, so it would be modernized, so it would look presentable for the people, for the visitors, and so on. And so there was this building, and it was like a lot of arguments about it's like an old building. This is old building too. Some had to be renovated. Still, they're still waiting for the real renovation. But this building, they decided they're gonna tear one apart. They're gonna tear one down, and I think they did this. Eventually, did it. I think in 2006 or 2007. That building is missing. And as I am trying to be gutsy as much as possible, because every time when they said, but don't go into that kind of stuff, is exactly what I am tempted to. I want to push the limits, so you know, whoever would try to say any kind of doubts or something like this would not even think about trying anything like that. So I am pushing also the lady now for this store that is outside of this store. This is like a small, tiny store. Like I said, this is a push in luck. And lady doesn't want to talk about the store. She instead mentions that other building that they have torn down. I don't get the answer, but I'm happy with the 2006. Again, I hit far back. There is no mistake about it. Now let me go and let me show you the two stores. The Chinese store that was below, and I'm going to show you also this used clothing store. Alright, I got some video here, and let's see what it says here.
This is a shop.
This is a Chinese
This is
one.
again crazy situation, right? Look what I am right now.
This is what they would
but this is
give.
what I want, and you can see that people don't want to give yes or no. But
As
you
I'm walking
are still
outside of the
listening to the
Chinese
100% correct tape. And so far, not even one mistake was done.
Okay, what I am gonna do, like I have promised, once I'm done with it, I will burn the movie that is gonna be 6 hours long with the audio only. It's not gonna be a movie, it's just gonna be an audio. So there's not gonna be any kind of doubts, stuff like that. Nothing edited here.
Not even a single mistake was done so far.
Okay, so this
And
is
the
a Chinese
locations I
market
have
is the name.
visited,
Again, I don't know. You would have thought twice about doing stuff like this. The store I was in is in the same building, but is on the second floor.
yeah, they are like this.
This is where I was.
Or that side street, let's say. Now, the shop where I'm heading right now, oh, this is the shop, boy. This shop, I'm gonna make a different kind of a claim. This shop is a clothing shop. Like I said, Americans love clothing shops. They were addicted to these clothing shops, okay? Now, where I'm going right now, that's a different story. That shop, however, was there already in, forget about, I'm gonna make a claim 2008. I'm gonna go far behind as far as I can go.
2006, I did it.
And there is this Gersh shops, clothing shops like this with a used clothing. I'm talking about specifically used clothing. This is what Americans were like into used clothing. That's what I'm gonna do in Gersh. In Gersh I gotta do a lot of stuff.
There's no point in doing it. It's good.
Let's
I did
go.
it here.
I'm gonna go to that shop and I'm gonna see about that stuff. That
So,
shop is.
I went all the way 2006 and I got it, not only 2008. Now look where this shop is.
Let's see. Now it's gonna be this way. Go like this. upstairs like that. It's again, this is on the second floor, and that's where I'm heading next.
Okay, about all right, let me see this.
All right, this is the store on the
this
second
is the store
floor.
right there,
This
Ducat,
store
on the second floor.
and it's the same name, the same store. Actually, lady, I went all the way to 2006. I was sure for 100% for 2008, but she gave me the green light even for 2006. So, yeah, the same kind of store, the same thing is also in cities, Gersh. That's where Americans were kind of stuff too that went on. It was all kinds of stuff.
Let me see this. Okay, it's like this, and there's a little store right in front of that store. I'm gonna make a claim right here, right now. That store already was there in 2015, but yeah, the store would open and close and open and close is what I heard. But still, the store was there in 2015. It's a small, little, tiny little store. But that matters to me. It matters to me everything. You're going to hear the lady, she will not want to answer to that. She's going to refer to another building and so on, but that's okay. Thank you very much. But I want that store too. Why? Because Americans said that every little bit counts. So I don't know. And I know the lady wants the best, that she tried to help me out. I know this thing, but it doesn't matter to me. I want that one too. I want them all, basically. The Chinese shop looks like this. This is another shop in Gersh, which I have filmed because I also want you to see that shop, how that shop looks like.
This is basically the store I was talking about.
The first one that was open was the one in Łódź, and then this one opened.
It's the same store in Gersh.
And there you go, Chinese market.
And
there you go.
It's actually difficult to even find one because...
No, these stores are like...
it's so well hidden. This is like the main street. This is all you get. This is the same thing, just this thing is in Gersh.
Again, this is up on the second floor. This is in another city, Gersh, suburb of Łódź, if you like. But this is also quite a decent sized city. This is on
stuff like this
the rear side of the building, and
this is the rear street.
There you go, on the second floor.
It's right there. They're right there on the top.
Chinese store was open first in Łódź, then it opened in Gersh. Ducat store, however, I am not 100%. Actually, there is a possibility that one might have been even opened first in Gersh and then it opened in Łódź, but this is already stuff that now I'm pushing luck. I cannot say that. The only thing I can say is I remember we spent a lot of time in this shop, in Gersh shop, okay? It's like kind of a pushing luck to say that stuff. I said this because I think they talk about something like that. But this is like already extraordinary stuff I shouldn't even go into. This is really pushing luck. It's like this. I did made a mistake with the small shop. I just realized that it was a little bit too gutsy, that I went to 2010. That's a mistake. There were businesses in that store, in and out. This is something I shouldn't say. The store owners of that little shop, it's the same shop, changed. It would be open, it would be gone, open and gone. I can say definitely, however, for 2015, they started to set one up. It was a very expensive shop. They had magazines for the reading, magazines, like a news outlet. They also had, if I remember, drinks, like quite expensive stuff, like that kind of stuff. I was not interested. It didn't get much of my attention, but I remember they started to do something in 2015, and I think this is the same. That's why I said the same store that remained. Definitely 100% I am. Since 2015 they were there. The lady doesn't want to know anything about this one, but I insist if you can somehow find out. The lady doesn't want to answer, and she mentions instead the building I have talked about building close to Galleria is the name in which, close to Caritas, where we would go. Okay, I'm thankful. Thank you so much, and bye-bye. Yes, it is. The next thing I'm heading is more. It's a shopping mall. It's I am already inside of the Galleria. Shopping mall Galleria, which was used by Americans like a main architecture, like a main thing that would redesign city of Łódź into something modern for like tourists. They would get like a modern shopping mall, and definitely completely changed image of the city. I am inside of the basement right now. I am completely on the bottom of the shopping mall, because that's how I want. I want to go to locations that prove beyond any doubt that. Now let's go, and I'm gonna play the recording. This is a well-known store. It's called Empik. Why Empik? Why Americans in Empik? Empik had a large variety. It's like a good-looking store. It's like a good-looking store, like, a nice, good-looking store, attractive store. They have all kinds of stuff in there. And they also have stuff like an online shop, stuff that is really attractive prices. You can find cables and stuff like that you can get through the Empik. So cheaper. Let's just say cheaper. They have an online store. Empik store, because next to the Empik store is this Rosman store. Rosman store was open 20 years. Rosman store is like a drogeria. It's like a let's say like a Publix, like I don't know, Winn-Dixie or whatever. Just a store with, spożywczy, kind of a vitamins, drinks, that kind of stuff. Again, that brought Americans over there. They would go, and they had money, so they could go and buy. It's a German store. And it's this Empik store, this beautiful store that popped up right there next to this store. And so I'm gonna make a very, very powerful claim again. I'm gonna go all the way to 2010 inside of the basement of the shopping mall known as Galeria Lochka. And the 2010 is as scary as it gets. I go basically on the day of the opening of the store. I hit the day of the opening. I go all the way to 2010 again. Of course, as I walk, I am coordinating the memories. I'm trying to match everything.
Ja bym chciał trochę zapytać. Ten sklep tutaj, że był otwarty w 2010 roku? Tak, ten sklep. Empik. 2010 rok.
Empik 2010 I want.
Aha, bardzo dziękuję wam.
The thing is that when I come with the stuff like this, already as I walked on those streets, there are some people that are watching this and they're giving me like a signal like they're gonna get a heart attack with the stuff that I do. It's like almost like you're not supposed to do that kind of stuff, but I really, really want to test myself. I really want to push the limits, because I remember Americans that said, if you can hit as far as you can with the date, with the time, this is like essential stuff. But they said, you're not going to do this anyways, just play safe. You're not going to do this anyways because you're going to be scared and so on. I'm not so scared. It's pretty intimidating, but I'm not so damn scared. I'm determined to find the manager inside of the store. Somebody that can give me the timing. What was cut out of this tape? Nothing is what was cut out of the tape. Actually, the lady, the first one would not know. The second one also called a manager, and with the manager we would go to the computer, and inside of the computer you would have basically the timing of the products when the products popped up in the store, when it was everything sold. So the two of us, we go to the computer. She starts the computer, and we start to look into the system.
Ten firma tu, co jest druga firma i tak i tak. Okej, nie taki menedżer, który mógł zapytać.
The lady is not too eager to give me assistance, and I'm asking please from the manager, if I can please get the manager. The employees alone are kind of it's yeah. I say 15-12 for sure, but I say I want to try 2010. I'm damn certain the store was open in 2010. Okay, we are checking the computer. I think she said 2013. She's going down. There you go. There you go. The lady alone, she is amazed. We go to the computer. 2013, she scrolls down. we get all the way to 2010, and I said that means that all this was already on the sale in year 2010 inside of the store. And she said, yes, yes, yes. She wants to sell me some music. And I really thankful and ready to go. I got my music. One more time, we repeat. Epic Victory. The name of the store is Epic, but this is totally epic. I hit exactly the year of the opening. It's like this. Let's just continue. Right next to this stores, right next to this particular store, I was interested. And there are other locations I was interested in this exact area, in this spot. Especially I was interested in this basement. There are other store I'm gonna head, and this is really, this is where things get really interesting. Well, this is the whole thing is interesting, but let's just continue with this. Okay, the next store where I stopped, it's called Rosman. I remember Rosman. Rosman's like a boring store. Like, for me, the only thing I remember a lot is that the girls, they were like totally, they were always like, if we went to lodge, that's where, Americans, they would go, they would buy themselves drinks over there. This colored, it's like a Walgreens store, actually. It's not like a Publix or Winn-Dixie. It's like a Walgreens. The best description of the store would be like in the US, that would be a perfectly Walgreens, I would say. It's like a convenience store, a German store. There is some food inside and stuff like this. But the thing about it is, when you compare this to Publix, Winn-Dixie, what I meant by that is that this store is like, it's a huge chain of stores. It's like Aldi, Hofer. In the north of the U.S., you actually have Aldi in I have seen one in Minneapolis, and I think it was in Chicago too. They already started to pop up there too. But otherwise, you in U.S., you would not be familiar. The name is Rossmann. It's a big chain of stores in outside of Germany too, in other countries. They just happen to be Poland. The thing is that under MKultra, this was repulsive to me. This whole thing was repulsive to me when they brought me there with them. You're like, when you're not interested in something, motivated, it's like, I don't want to use that, not even abbreviation for that, but this is the way it feels. It's like, whatever, okay? That's the second description I would use. It's like, just get me out of here, basically. Let me see something interesting, something like this. And they would keep coming to this store. The thing is that all I wanted to get was 2010 at least, because I remember the other store was more interesting where I was in. And that's what I started. I started with 2010 in that store with the year of the opening of the store. And I was pretty much sure, because I remembered that at the same time it was this store. It also was there. This is what I remember. And I couldn't go wrong with it. And so the lady, what you're about to hear is she's gonna ask a security officer. This is really interesting stuff. Security officer is gonna, in fact, he's gonna confirm this store is over there already 20 years. But there is a whole MKultra scenario behind this particular security officer, as I explain in continuation. This is really interesting stuff.
Bardzo dziękuję. Bye bye.
I got the green light. The security officer is the one that tells her that this store exists 20 years. The thing is that about me is that I don't care. Even when I get the right answer, even when I get the confirmation, I still match, I still compare, everything, every possible thing. Ooh, my mind is it's like a computer that really is evaluating exactly what the situation was under MKultra, which every situation pertained, and it's really interesting. This is kind of memory test they have done here. I think that, I don't know, I think that Polish, American government, Russian, it's quite interesting, this whole thing, it's quite interesting. This is where the whole scenario played. This security officer who gave this, I was not satisfied. I get the confirmation, but there is more about the security officer. And basically the way he gives the answer, it's like 20 years. It's like saying to me, it's like, for me this will be like, he gives me a green light, but for me personally this is like, immediately when I see this particular security officer, the only thing that happens is the memory triggers on MKultra, and as I walk out, I'm not happy with this answer because the answer was like a kind of a sarcastic. So I am determined instead of proceeding forward, I am determined to obtain more from this situation. I am determined that for me everything matters, because how can I say? It's like, let's say you lose something, you lose item as you go down the street, and what happens is, in my opinion, is once you lose one, you lose completely everything, because you no longer know what you're doing. So according to me, I cannot afford myself to lose anything. I cannot afford myself to lose not even a small crumble, anything at all. Everything must be, exactly. I'm not a perfectionist. I'm far away from that. Believe me, people around me can tell you I'm far away from perfectionist. But there are stuff like this that matters to me, and even if I'm not gonna get like out of this situation because I want to learn more about the security officer who was involved in MKultra. I am not gonna get more confirmation. In fact, the gentleman, I'm gonna ask the gentleman if he was there in 2010, because the gentleman was involved in MKultra with a very very specific very specific goal. They would get him in this kind of situation, so you would try to get confirmation from him that he was in there. And then what this setup was based on, it was based like in the way he answered the questions, was like, it was like kind of a discouraging over there in the hallway, but doesn't matter. um, the way his answer was based, it was based like in a like sarcastic way, like in a way that